Hello everybody, this is Toys R Us, and for this special figure showcase and review we've got something quite special, quite unique and indeed quite rare to look at today. This is a figure that I suppose is only known as Sedan. Now for those of you who know Transformers and Generation 1 oddities, this is a blue bumblejumper or bumper as he is now known figure. So hopefully with this video I'm going to give you a little bit of information on I suppose the background of this and indeed just why it's such a unique figure. To be honest, I'm going to show you the original version of him that did actually come out, as I say, although not officially, in the Generation 1 Transformers toy line, and I can show you a couple of other crazy Estrela redecos and repaints of some figures that we all know and love very much. Right, so as I start to pop all these back, I'd like to remind anybody who's not subscribed to the channel, if you'd like to hit that subscribe button for me now please, because it really will help me out. So a bit of brief history before we bring this guy in. Obviously I think most people will have seen this particular figure. This is in 1984. He was originally known as Bumblejumper, and the reason for that is because he of course looks a little bit like the G1 Bumblebee and the G1 Cliff Jumper, so they just of course mixed the two names up and we got Bumblejumper. So these were all released in 1984. They've only found package variants of Bumper, as we now call him, on Cliff Jumper cards, but that's not to say that they could have ever found or not been released on a Bumblebee card. But the interesting thing obviously is, as I say, he's not an official character and he never got a bio or anything until recently. Whereas in Brazil, Estrela was making Transformer figures for obviously Hasbro and Takara, and he had his own bio, he had his own tech spec and pretty much a little bit of a write-up, which again, this is all not confirmed, but it's thought that's because it was scrapped and perhaps he was going to be obviously an actual figure and a car. So because there was four versions of this. We had the yellow, the blue, a white, and I think it was a green color. So as I say, in Brazil these were packaged on Transformers cards, but again in different colors with the bios written up for them. The figure itself, obviously, as I say, he was known as Sedan, but there's just loads of different colors. But the car itself is like a Mazda Familia, and it's a bit of what's known as a penny racer, which is slightly like a Choro Q figure, so it's like out of proportion and sort of cutesy looking vehicle. Now to be honest, I've never transformed this, so I'm going to do it very carefully on this particular video. It is just a mini bot, but as I say, these are what's referred to in the fandom and in the collecting community as a South American mini bot, because obviously Brazil is in South America. In Brazil, Estrela made mini bots. In Argentina, Antex made them. There was Linsa in Peru, and there was a few others. So there is a huge rabbit hole regarding all these particular minibot figures. Now you'll notice that there isn't any Autobot or faction stickers on this particular guy. Wow, he transforms all right. I'm really quite surprised with that, and indeed quite pleased at the same time. Things to be aware of if you have to one for yourself, obviously, I mean, but you're gonna have to be really lucky to find one without loose joints. A lot of the screws are corroded a lot of the time, so's anything to do with the metal, it's normally always corroded. And then funnily enough, if I show you at the bottom, you should be able to read this. You can see there it says Estrela, and it says at the bottom there as well, made in Brazil. Now unfortunately I don't have any carded examples of any Estrela figures. I do have some Antex ones which are in other videos if you want to see them, but the figure itself, as I say, is really interesting. It is exactly that. It looks, you know, exactly the same as Bumper, just a completely different color, and you can totally see yet again when I bring these in where he got his name from. It was also, of course, way before the time, excuse the glare, when they of course intentionally changed the mold and changed it ever so slightly to make hubcap a couple of years later. This again, well, the original one is a genuine bona fide mistake that perhaps never should have left the factory. What I am going to do though, because there isn't really much more to show you about, or sorry, yeah, show you him in robot mode rather. I'll show you his head sculpt and I'll show you the fact that there's a different sticker on the back. But then when I get him back into robot mode, I'm going to show you a couple of other of the crazy South America, well, Estrela minibot variants that they've released as well. So some of these I believe already have been integrated into Transformers. I'm not going to say folklore, I'm going to say into, I suppose, fiction. I think Malignus has been brought in as a shattered glass character as well. So of course, again, these are all Generation 1 1984 molds. So we've obviously got the Brawn mold. Again, there's videos of these on this channel if you want to see them, where they called them Malignus, and at the moment I'm just having a complete memory blank for the other ones as well. But you can see this was obviously the Gears mold. These aren't to be confused with the IGA Mexican, where they just painted, for instance, Puffer, they painted the Huffer mold in the Pipes colours. They really did get these molds, and as I say, they made some crazy versions of the figures that we know and love, using more molds than Antex. Antex I've only seen, but again, please correct me if I'm wrong, they only use Cliffjumper, Bumblebee and Windcharger molds, whereas Estrela had quite a lot of them. Right, there's not much more to say about this. Just very quickly, for I suppose people who collect modern day figures, I'm not going to transform him again. I'm going to bring in the original one just to give you an idea of how big he is. There is an up-to-date, I suppose, Micromaster. I think he came with Guardian, to be honest. And if I just bring in a core class figure, you will see that the original mini bots aren't that much smaller than one of the core class figures. But there you go. Hope you found this interesting. As I say, I've got playlists on this channel for Antex, Estrela and IGA mini bots as well, and they're all different and all unique in their own special way. But for now, this is it's got to be 1984 Brazilian version of a figure or a character that they know and called Sedan. There you go. Hope you found this interesting, guys. Take care.